Hello and welcome to Coffee English. I'm Michael, and I'm absolutely delighted you're here with me today. Pour yourself a cup of coffee, tea, or whatever makes you comfortable. Today we're diving into something incredibly important. Something that touches the hearts of millions of English learners around the world. Today we're talking about how to restart your English journey after a long break. Maybe you stopped learning for a few months. Maybe it's been a year or even several years. Perhaps life got in the way with work, family, or personal challenges. Or maybe you just lost motivation and put English on the back burner. Whatever your reason, I want you to know something right now. You are not alone in this experience. You are not the first person to take a break from learning English. And you certainly won't be the last. But here's the beautiful thing about this moment. You're here now. You're listening to this. That means you're ready to begin again. And that, my friend, is exactly where every success story starts. So let's figure out together, step by step, how to get back on track. How to rebuild your confidence. How to fall in love with English all over again. Have you ever noticed what happens when you don't ride a bicycle for years? The first time you get back on, you might feel a little wobbly. Your balance might not be perfect. You might feel nervous about falling. But within minutes, something magical happens. Your body remembers. Your muscles know what to do. The movements come back naturally. Learning English after a break is remarkably similar. Your brain is like a muscle with memory. When you take a break, your English doesn't just vanish into thin air. It's still there, stored in the corners of your mind. Like books on a shelf that got dusty, but never lost their stories. Like a friendship that distance couldn't destroy. Let me share a story that many people find inspiring. You might have heard of Benny Lewis, a famous language learner and blogger. He runs a website called Fluent in 3 months. But what many people don't know is that Benny wasn't always successful with languages. In fact, he struggled with Irish for 11 years in school. He thought he was terrible at languages. He believed he didn't have the language gene. After school, he completely stopped learning languages for several years. He focused on his engineering career. He thought his language learning days were over. But at age 21, something changed. He moved to Spain for work. He needed to learn Spanish, but he was terrified. He remembered his failures with Irish. He was convinced he would fail again. For the first 6 months in Spain, he barely tried. He spoke English with other foreigners. He avoided Spanish conversations. He felt like he was wasting his time in Spain. But then he made a decision that changed everything. He decided to start small and be patient with himself. Instead of trying to have complex conversations immediately, he started with simple greetings. Instead of studying grammar books for hours, he listened to Spanish music. Instead of being perfect, he focused on just being better than yesterday. Slowly, beautifully, miraculously, something started happening. He began understanding Spanish songs. He started having short conversations with shopkeepers. He felt more confident each day. Within a year, he was conversational in Spanish. But more importantly, he discovered that he wasn't bad at languages. He had just been using the wrong approach before. That experience taught him something profound about language learning. And about life in general. Sometimes our biggest failures prepare us for our greatest successes. Sometimes taking a break gives us the wisdom we need to succeed. Now, I want to help you make that same leap with your English. Before we talk about how to restart, we need to address the elephant in the room. The guilt, the shame, the feeling that you've somehow failed. I want to tell you something very clearly. Taking a break from English does not make you a failure. It makes you human. Let me explain why breaks happen and why they're actually more common than you think. According to language learning research, over 70% of language learners take at least one significant break. That means if you're in a room with 10 English learners, 7 of them have stopped at some point. You are part of the majority, not the exception. Breaks happen for many reasons. Work becomes overwhelming and demands all your mental energy. Family situations require your full attention and emotional support. Health problems arise that need your focus and care. Financial difficulties make it hard to afford classes or materials. You move to a new city, and your routine gets completely disrupted. You experience burnout from studying too intensively for too long. You hit a plateau and feel like you're not making progress anymore. You lose confidence after a difficult conversation or embarrassing mistake. You simply get bored with your current learning method. Life throws you curveballs that require all your resources. All of these reasons are completely valid and understandable. None of them make you weak or uncommitted. They make you a real person dealing with real life. But here's what happens to many learners during a break. They start telling themselves negative stories. I'm not good at languages. I don't have enough willpower. I'm wasting money and time. Other people are smarter than me. Maybe I'm too old to learn English. These thoughts are not only untrue, they're also harmful. They create a negative cycle that makes it harder to restart. The more guilty you feel, the more you avoid English. The more you avoid English, the more guilty you feel. This cycle can trap you for months or even years. So the first step in restarting your English journey is breaking this cycle. You need to forgive yourself completely. You need to replace guilt with compassion. You need to replace self-criticism with understanding. Tell yourself, I took a break because I needed to take care of other important things in my life. That was the right decision at the time. Now I'm ready to begin again, and that's also the right decision. Remember, every single successful English speaker has had moments of doubt. Every single one has faced challenges and setbacks. What makes them successful is not that they never fell down. It's that they always got back up. Now that we've dealt with the emotional side, let's get practical. When you return to English after a break, you need to honestly assess your current level. But here's the key: assess without judgment. Think of yourself as a scientist studying an interesting phenomenon. You want to gather data, not make moral judgments. Many people make the mistake of immediately jumping back to where they left off. They pick up the same advanced textbook they were using. They try to watch the same difficult English movies. They attempt to have complex conversations right away. This approach usually leads to frustration and another break. Instead, you need to start a little below where you think you are. This isn't because you're not capable. It's because you want to rebuild confidence along with skills. Think of it like going to the gym after a long break. Even if you used to lift heavy weights, you start with lighter ones. This prevents injury and helps you build back up safely. Your English brain needs the same gentle approach. Here's how to assess your current level honestly. Start with listening. Find a simple English video or podcast, something designed for beginners or elementary learners. Listen for 5 minutes without subtitles. How much do you understand? If you understand most of it easily, try something slightly more difficult. If you understand very little, try something even simpler. Keep adjusting until you find your current comfort zone. Next, test your reading. Find a short article or story written for English learners. Read one paragraph slowly. How many words do you need to look up? If it's more than 3 or 4 words per paragraph, try something easier. If you understand everything easily, try something more challenging. Now test your speaking. This one might feel scary, but it's important. Try talking to yourself for 2 minutes about your day. Don't worry about grammar or vocabulary mistakes. Just try to express your thoughts. How difficult was it to find words? How comfortable did you feel with pronunciation? How much did you hesitate or get stuck? Finally, test your writing. Write a short paragraph about your weekend or your hobbies. Again, don't worry about perfection. Just try to communicate your ideas. How easily did the words come? How confident did you feel about grammar? How much did you have to think about each sentence? Based on these simple tests, you'll have a realistic picture of where you are now. Maybe your listening is stronger than your speaking. Maybe your reading is better than your writing. This is completely normal. Different skills develop at different rates, and different skills fade at different rates during breaks. The important thing is knowing your starting point, because you can't plan a journey without knowing where you begin. Now comes the fun part, designing your comeback. But we're going to do this smartly and sustainably. The biggest mistake people make when restarting English is trying to do too much too fast. They're so eager to make up for lost time that they create unrealistic expectations. They plan to study for 2 hours every day. They want to memorize 50 new words per week. They decide to speak only English at home. This approach almost always leads to burnout and another break. Instead, we're going to use what I call the gentle restart method. This method is based on 3 principles. Start small, be consistent, and gradually increase. Let's start with time commitment. For the first week, commit to only 10 minutes of English per day. Yes, only 10 minutes. This might feel too easy, but that's exactly the point. You want to rebuild the habit before you worry about intensity. You want success to feel inevitable, not difficult. 10 minutes is small enough that you can't make excuses. I don't have time doesn't work with 10 minutes. I'm too tired doesn't work with 10 minutes. I'm too busy doesn't work with 10 minutes. Everyone has 10 minutes. You spend more than 10 minutes checking social media. You spend more than 10 minutes waiting for the bus. You spend more than 10 minutes eating breakfast. So 10 minutes for English is completely doable. But here's the secret. Those 10 minutes need to be the same 10 minutes every day. Maybe it's 10 minutes right after you wake up. Maybe it's 10 minutes during your lunch break. Maybe it's 10 minutes before you go to bed. Choose a time that works with your natural routine. A time when you're usually alert and available. A time that doesn't require you to change your entire schedule. Now, what should you do during those 10 minutes? I recommend rotating between 4 activities throughout the week. Monday and Thursday, listening practice. Choose simple, interesting content. Maybe English learning podcasts. Maybe YouTube videos for beginners. Maybe English songs with clear pronunciation. The key is choosing content that's slightly below your current level. You want to understand most of it without stress. Tuesday and Friday, reading practice. Start with very short articles or stories. Maybe news articles written for English learners. Maybe short blog posts about topics you enjoy. Maybe simple books or graded readers. Again, choose material that's comfortable, not challenging. Wednesday and Saturday, speaking practice. This doesn't mean finding conversation partners immediately. Start by talking to yourself. Describe your morning routine out loud. Talk about what you see outside your window. Read short texts aloud to practice pronunciation. Record yourself if you want to track progress. Sunday, writing practice. Write 3 sentences about your day. Write a short paragraph about your weekend plans. Write about something that made you happy this week. Don't worry about perfect grammar or spelling. Just focus on expressing your thoughts clearly. This schedule gives you variety without overwhelming you. It touches all 4 language skills every week. It's structured enough to create routine, but flexible enough to stay interesting. After 2 weeks of consistent 10-minute sessions, you can increase to 15 minutes. After a month, you might feel ready for 20 minutes. But only increase when the current level feels completely comfortable and automatic. Remember, slow and steady wins the race. Even with the best plan, you're going to face challenges when restarting English. Let's talk about the most common ones and how to handle them. Challenge number 1, I feel like I've forgotten everything. This is the most common fear when returning to English. You try to remember a word you once knew, and it's not there. You try to make a sentence, and it feels clumsy. You listen to English, and it sounds faster than before. This feeling is completely normal and temporary. Your English knowledge hasn't disappeared. It's just become less accessible. Think of it like a path through the forest. When you use the path regularly, it stays clear and easy to walk. When you don't use it for a while, grass grows over it. But the path is still there underneath. You just need to walk it a few times to clear it again. Your English vocabulary and grammar are the same. They're still in your memory, just covered by the grass of time. With a little practice, they'll become accessible again. Be patient with this process. Don't expect immediate fluency. Celebrate small victories, like remembering a word you thought you'd forgotten, or understanding a sentence that seemed difficult at first. Challenge number 2, I make more mistakes than before. When you return to English, you might notice more mistakes in your speech and writing. This can be discouraging, but it's actually a good sign. It means you're paying attention to accuracy. It means your standards are higher than when you started learning. When you were a complete beginner, you didn't notice most of your mistakes. Now you have enough knowledge to recognize when something doesn't sound right. This awareness is a sign of progress, not regression. Instead of getting frustrated with mistakes, use them as learning opportunities. Keep a simple notebook where you write down mistakes you notice. Look up the correct forms when you have time. But don't let mistake correction dominate your study time. Spend 80% of your time on input and practice. Spend only 20% on error correction. Communication is more important than perfection. Challenge number 3, I don't have motivation like before. When you first started learning English, everything was new and exciting. Every new word felt like a victory. Every successful conversation was thrilling. Now, returning after a break, that excitement might be gone. Learning might feel more like work than play. This is normal, and there are ways to reignite your motivation. First, reconnect with your why. Why did you start learning English in the first place? Was it for career opportunities? Was it to travel and communicate with people from other countries? Was it to understand English movies and music without subtitles? Was it to challenge yourself and prove you could do it? Write down your original reasons. Then think about whether those reasons are still important to you. If they are, use them as daily motivation. If they're not, find new reasons that excite you now. Maybe you want to help your children with their English homework. Maybe you want to read books by your favorite English-speaking authors. Maybe you want to understand international news without translation. Maybe you want to make friends with English speakers online. Having a clear, personal reason makes the daily practice feel meaningful. Second, change your learning materials to reignite interest. If you used textbooks before, try podcasts now. If you watched movies before, try reading comics now. If you studied formal English before, try learning slang and casual expressions now. Variety keeps learning fresh and engaging. Third, set small, achievable goals that you can celebrate. Instead of "I want to be fluent," try "I want to understand one English song completely." Instead of "I want to speak perfectly," try "I want to have a 5-minute conversation with an English speaker." Instead of "I want to read English novels," try "I want to read one short story per week." Small goals create frequent victories. Frequent victories maintain motivation. Challenge number 4, I don't have time like I used to. Maybe when you first learned English, you were a student with flexible schedule. Maybe you were single with fewer responsibilities. Maybe your job was less demanding. Now you might have family obligations, career pressures, or other commitments. The good news is that you don't need as much time as you think. Remember our 10-minute daily commitment. That's only 70 minutes per week. Less than 2 hours total. Most people spend more time than that scrolling through social media each day. But if even 10 minutes feels impossible, let's get creative. Use dead time for English practice. Listen to English podcasts while commuting. Read English articles while waiting for appointments. Practice pronunciation while cooking dinner. Review vocabulary while standing in line at the store. Change your phone's language to English. Watch English YouTube videos instead of videos in your native language. Listen to English music instead of music in your native language. These changes don't require extra time. They just redirect time you're already spending. The key is making English part of your existing routine, not adding it on top. Confidence is the secret ingredient that makes language learning successful. When you feel confident, you're willing to take risks. You're willing to make mistakes. You're willing to try new words and structures. When you lack confidence, you play it safe. You stick to words you're absolutely sure about. You avoid challenging conversations. You hesitate to express complex ideas. After a break from English, confidence is usually the first thing that needs rebuilding. Even if your knowledge is still there, your confidence might be shaky. This is why we need to focus deliberately on building confidence through small wins. A small win is any positive English experience that makes you feel successful. Understanding a joke in an English video. Successfully ordering food in English at a restaurant. having a brief conversation with an English-speaking tourist, reading a paragraph without looking up any words, writing a text message in English without checking grammar. These might seem like tiny accomplishments, but they're incredibly important. Each small win tells your brain, I can do this. English is possible for me. I am capable of communicating in this language. Here's how to create more small wins in your daily practice. Choose materials that are slightly below your actual level. If you think you're intermediate, practice with upper beginner materials. This ensures that you understand most of what you encounter. Understanding creates confidence. Confusion destroys confidence. Set daily goals that you're absolutely sure you can achieve. Instead of I will study English for an hour, try I will listen to one English song. Instead of I will memorize 20 new words, try I will learn 3 new words. Instead of I will have a long conversation in English, try I will say one sentence out loud. When you consistently achieve your goals, you feel successful. When you feel successful, you want to do more. When you want to do more, you actually do more. This creates a positive cycle of confidence and achievement. Celebrate your small wins explicitly. Don't just notice them and move on. Actually acknowledge them to yourself. I understood that entire conversation in the coffee shop. That's amazing. I wrote that email in English without using a translator. I'm getting better. I knew that word without looking it up. My vocabulary is coming back. Celebrating reinforces the positive feeling associated with English learning. It makes your brain want to repeat the experience. Keep a simple success journal. At the end of each day, write down one thing you did well in English. It could be something tiny, like pronouncing a difficult word correctly, or something bigger, like understanding a news article. The size doesn't matter. What matters is acknowledging progress regularly. When you have a difficult day with English, read through your success journal. It will remind you of how much you've already achieved. It will give you motivation to keep going. One advantage of restarting English now is the incredible variety of resources available. When you first learned English, you might have been limited to textbooks and classroom instruction. Now you have access to thousands of apps, websites, podcasts, videos, and interactive tools. But this abundance can also be overwhelming. Many restart learners spend more time choosing resources than actually using them. They download dozens of apps, but don't use any consistently. They bookmark hundreds of websites, but don't visit them regularly. They subscribe to multiple podcasts, but don't listen to any completely. This resource overwhelm can actually slow down your progress. Instead of trying everything, I recommend choosing just 3 to 5 high-quality resources. Use them consistently for at least a month before adding anything new. Here's my recommended resource toolkit for restart learners. For listening practice, choose one podcast series designed for your level. Listen to episodes multiple times if necessary. Don't worry about understanding every word. Focus on getting the main ideas and enjoying the content. Some excellent options include English Learning for Curious Minds, All Ears English, or 6-Minute English by BBC. For reading practice, choose one website with articles at your level. Read one article per week, but read it thoroughly. Look up key vocabulary words. Read it again after a few days. Some good options include Breaking News English, News in Slow English, or English Online by British Council. For vocabulary building, Choose one app that uses spaced repetition. Add 5 to 10 new words per week. Review old words regularly. Don't try to memorize huge lists quickly. Anki, Quizlet, or Memrise are popular options. For speaking practice, if you're not ready for conversation partners, use voice recording apps. Record yourself reading short texts. Record yourself describing pictures. Record yourself talking about your day. Listen to your recordings to track improvement. Apps like Voice Memos, iPhone, or Smart Recorder Android work perfectly. For grammar review, choose one comprehensive grammar website. Work through one grammar point per week. Do the exercises multiple times until they feel automatic. Don't try to review all grammar rules at once. English Grammar Online by Ego4U or Perfect English Grammar are excellent resources. The key is using these resources consistently rather than perfectly. It's better to listen to one podcast episode 3 times than to listen to 10 different episodes once each. It's better to thoroughly understand one article than to quickly skim 5 articles. Depth beats breadth when you're rebuilding your English foundation. Also, don't forget about free resources that are often overlooked. Your local library probably has English learning materials, including books, audiobooks, and DVDs. YouTube has thousands of free English lessons on every topic imaginable. Many universities offer free online English courses through platforms like Coursera or edX. English language news websites often have simplified versions for learners. Social media can be a learning tool if used wisely. Follow English learning accounts on Instagram or TikTok. Join English learning groups on Facebook. Participate in English learning discussions on Reddit. But set boundaries for social media use. It should supplement your learning, not replace focused study time. Now it's time for one of my favorite parts of every Coffee English episode. In each show, I like to share with you a useful phrase that you can start using right away. These aren't just random expressions. They're carefully chosen phrases that can help you in real conversations. Today's phrase is especially meaningful for anyone who's restarting their English journey. So let's focus on today's special phrase. This comes from one of my favorite quotes by the famous American poet and author Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou lived an incredible life full of challenges and comebacks. She faced poverty, racism, and personal trauma. But she never stopped learning, growing, and improving herself. She once said, "Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better." From this beautiful wisdom, our phrase for today is, do better. Do better. Let me break this down for you. Do is the action verb meaning to perform or execute something. Better is the comparative form of good. It means more good, improved, superior to before. Together, do better means to perform at a higher level than you did previously. It's not about being perfect. It's not about being the best in the world. It's about being better than you were yesterday. Here are some examples of how to use this phrase. I made many grammar mistakes in my last English conversation, but today I will do better. Last week I only studied English twice, but this week I will do better. I used to be afraid of speaking English with strangers, but now I'm ready to do better. You can also use it to encourage others. Don't worry about yesterday's test. Tomorrow you can do better. I know English feels difficult right now, but keep practicing and you'll do better. The beautiful thing about this phrase is that it focuses on progress, not perfection. It acknowledges that you might not be where you want to be yet, but it affirms that improvement is always possible. Every day is a new opportunity to do better than the day before. This is especially important for restart learners. You might feel frustrated that your English isn't as good as it once was. You might compare yourself to other learners who never took breaks. You might wish you could fast forward to fluency. But do better reminds you that the only comparison that matters is with your yesterday self. If you understood one more word today than yesterday, you're doing better. If you spoke one more sentence today than yesterday, you're doing better. If you felt 1% more confident today than yesterday, you're doing better. Small improvements, consistently applied, create remarkable transformations over time. So make do better your daily mantra. Not be perfect, not catch up to everyone else. Just do better, that's enough, that's everything. Let's take a moment to review everything we've covered in today's episode. We started by acknowledging that taking a break from English is completely normal. Over 70% of language learners take significant breaks. You're not alone, and you're not a failure. We talked about releasing the guilt and self-criticism that often comes with breaks. Guilt creates negative cycles that make it harder to restart. Compassion and understanding create positive cycles that support your comeback. We discussed the importance of honestly assessing your current level without judgment. You need to know where you are now to plan where you're going. Starting slightly below your previous level helps rebuild confidence safely. We explored the gentle restart method based on 3 principles. Start small, be consistent, and gradually increase. 10 minutes per day is enough to begin rebuilding your English habit. Consistency matters more than intensity, especially in the early stages. We covered common restart challenges and practical solutions for each one. Feeling like you've forgotten everything is normal and temporary. Making more mistakes than before actually shows increased awareness. Lack of motivation can be addressed by reconnecting with your why and setting small goals. Time constraints can be managed by using dead time and integrating English into existing routines. We emphasized building confidence through small wins. Small wins tell your brain that English success is possible. Celebrating progress, no matter how small, reinforces positive associations with learning. A success journal helps you remember your achievements on difficult days. We discussed using technology and resources wisely. Too many options can be overwhelming and counterproductive. Choose 3 to 5 high-quality resources and use them consistently. Depth of engagement beats breadth of exposure when rebuilding foundations. And we learned our phrase of the day, do better. Not perfect, just better than yesterday. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. Now I want to hear from you. I want you to be part of this Coffee English community. Here's my question for you. What's one specific thing you're going to do today to restart your English journey? Maybe it's downloading one English learning app. Maybe it's listening to one English song with lyrics. Maybe it's writing 3 sentences about your morning. Maybe it's saying, "Hello, how are you?" out loud to practice pronunciation. Whatever it is, I want you to share it in the comments below. Write it in English if you feel comfortable. Write it in your native language if that feels easier. The important thing is making a commitment and sharing it with this community. When you write down your commitment publicly, you're much more likely to follow through. And when you see other people's commitments, you'll feel inspired and motivated. We're all in this journey together. Your success encourages others, and their success encourages you. If this episode has helped you in any way, please show your support. Give it a thumbs up so more people can find it. Share it with a friend who also needs to restart their English journey. Post it on your social media with a message about your own English comeback story. And most importantly, subscribe to Coffee English for more episodes like this one. Every subscription tells me that this content is valuable to you. It motivates me to create more helpful episodes. It helps the channel grow so we can reach more English learners who need support and encouragement. I read every single comment that comes in. I appreciate every like, share, and subscription. You are not just passive listeners. You are active members of a global community of English learners. Together, we can make English learning more enjoyable, more supportive, and more successful for everyone. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I know you have many choices for how to spend your time. The fact that you chose to invest it in improving your English shows your commitment to growth. That commitment is going to serve you well on this restart journey. Before we part ways today, I want to leave you with one final thought. Every expert was once a beginner. Every fluent English speaker was once exactly where you are right now. They faced the same challenges you're facing. They had the same doubts you're having. They took breaks, made mistakes, and felt frustrated sometimes. What made them successful wasn't that they never struggled. It was that they never gave up completely. They kept coming back. They kept trying. They kept doing better, one day at a time. You have everything you need to succeed. You have the knowledge you've already built. You have the experience of learning English before. You have the wisdom that comes from facing challenges and overcoming them. You have the support of this Coffee English community. And you have today. Right now, this moment, this fresh start. Your English comeback story begins today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Not when you feel completely ready. Today. Remember our phrase of the day, do better. Not perfect, just better. Keep practicing, keep believing in yourself. Keep moving forward, one small step at a time. You've got this, I believe in you. And I can't wait to hear about your progress. This is Michael from Coffee English. Thank you for being part of this community. Thank you for choosing to restart your English journey. Thank you for never giving up on yourself. See you next time. Take care and keep doing better.